Namaste and welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity, and we're going to continue with the exercise of answering a question from the jar and doing my best, I guess, to answer it within a 10-minute time frame, and I tend to go over a little bit over 10 minutes. So I'm going to take a question out, and I'll take a deep breath. And the question I got was, is it normal to seek attention from others? Is it normal to seek attention from others? I want to stress that word normal that we often use means it's what most people tend to do. And I would say, yes, most people tend to seek attention, so it is normal. But normal isn't necessarily the most wholesome and skillful way to approach life. What's normal is not necessarily healthy. It just means the majority of individuals are doing it within a group. And so what's normal in one group may not be normal in another group. So when we think about the normalcy of seeking attention, it is a very, I think, normal human tendency to have. We need to belong to our pack. We need to be seen. We need to be heard. We need to be cared for. That is love and belonging, according to Maslow's third rung of his pyramid. But it is not necessarily something we need at the higher level. The attention from others is not necessary at the higher levels. In the higher level of who we truly are, we already have all the conditions we need for happiness, according to the Buddha. We already are fulfilled. This is where love comes from. It's not an external thing, nor is it externally conditional. It is something that is within us. So when we seek attention in the form of love, or use attention as validation of being loved or liked, we may be looking out there for it, when really love is an experience of being at the higher level. And we erroneously, as human beings, tend to see it as something we get from other people. And therefore we tend to think that we need to get it from other people. On one level we do. As infants and children, we need the attention of a maternal figure or an adult figure to care for us and keep us safe and to feed us and to meet our daily needs. But eventually we expand away from that need. We often associate the love and attention we get during the time our basic needs met as a necessity as well, and they go together. So getting our basic needs met is associated with or equivalent to getting loved. And so we have that need again for the attention of the other being. When we associate or look at the external world to be the provider of our love, we are not in a healthy state, because that love is so unpredictable, is it not? That comes from the outside world. We may get love from this person, we may not get love from this person, and we may get something as awful as disdain from another person, right? We may be rejected by the individual over there, welcomed by the individual over here. It is unpredictable, and it is not going to allow us to feel safe and secure. As long as we're looking towards for the other people in our lives, the others outside of us, to fulfill us and to give us the attention we need to validate our worthiness, we are constantly going to be on an up and down roller coaster. Sometimes they're going to validate us and we're going to feel worthy. Sometimes they're not going to validate us and we're going to feel unworthy. We have to recognize that nothing out there, or no one out there, is responsible for our inner sense of worthiness. That is something we have inherited the moment we came. That is who we truly are at the deepest level, worthy, more than worthy. But we have limited our focus onto this little me with this personality, this separate body focus, and have come to believe that in order to be validated, safe, and secure in that validation, we need other people to remind us that we are worthy. That is what attention is, right? So we can give attention in the sense that, you're on a social media page and you're getting likes and subscribers. You can get attention by when you're standing up in front of a crowd and everybody seems to be looking at you and listening to you. You can get attention by when you walk by, everybody turns their head. It can be a physical type of attention. It can be attention because of your physical body. It can be attention because of what you're saying. It can be attention because of how you're behaving. And that attention can be negative, right? Or it can be positive, but for negative reasons, as long as we're getting attention that's positive, right? So you may not be able to get attention in the form of validation for your worth, but if you act up, you can get attention for validation, to validate that you're unworthy in your mind only, because that worthiness and unworthiness is just something inside. It's an internal judgment that's made, and we're looking for other people to validate it either way. So is it normal to need attention? Yes. As human beings, we tend to. Is it something that we should be avoiding, the need for attention? Not necessarily. Some attention is good. It's perfectly okay to get attention from other people and to seek attention from other people. Just don't be overly attached to having it. Don't try to tell life what it must do. It has to provide this amount of people for you that are going to give you this type of attention. And it's going to prevent you from not getting the negative attention from others, the criticism and rejection you might get from somebody else. So the attention we get then is not necessary. We do not have to be attached to it. It's okay, but we do not have to be attached to it. As long as we're attached to getting attention from others, we're going to be living this, trying to create this persona and this personality that people will like, so I get the attention I want. I'm going to be focusing on my appearance, so it's a certain way that people like me. We're not going to be authentic. We're not going to be who we truly are. When we look towards the self to get validation, the self with a capital S, then we are being authentic. When we look to others to give us attention and we do what we can on the external levels, mind and body and personality, to meet that attention, to get those, meet those expectations of others so we get the attention we need, then we're not being authentic and real, are we? Most of us do that. That's how we tend to live our lives. That's how our personalities are developed. They're developed according to how we want others to respond to us and what kind of attention they're going to give us. And so we put a lot of emphasis on pleasing others with our looks and our personalities and what we achieve in our roles, rather than being authentic and saying, I want the validation from self. I don't need it so much out there. I want to be internally validated. I want a self to validate me, and I want to be doing what feels real and wholesome to the bigger S in this equation, which is the true self, rather than the ego, which is the smaller S. So it's normal to want attention and to seek attention, and be careful how you seek it. It may not necessarily be what you need. It's just what you think you need, the external validation from others. What you really need is an internal validation. And it's a process of going from external validation to internal validation, from needing external validation to needing internal validation. It's a process. It's a growth process. And as you start to fall back into your higher self, you'll find that you're needing less and less the attention from others. That doesn't mean that you don't come up and do videos like this. It just means that your reason for doing this is not necessarily just to stroke the ego and to validate the ego. It's maybe for a higher reason. And the attention you get may not be exactly what the ego wants, but it's what the higher self needs, for example. Or you're less expectant of whatever happens. You're not looking for those likes and subscribers. You are being authentically real as you come here to this social page and do what you do. And if you get attention, great. If you don't, that's great too. And that's probably a healthier way to live. But it is normal, I think, to seek attention. Just don't be overly attached to it. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that makes sense. Namaste.